theyeshiva.net.
Tayid Yidin Yud Ches Amud Beis. How many lines from the bottom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 lines from the bottom, Yud Ches Amud Beis. The line starts Bekal v'chaymer, Torach v'kosav lo kra. Okay. Amar le Ravina le Rabashi. Ravina asked a question to Ravashi. Now, to understand the question Ravina is going to ask Rabashi, let's recall the discussion in the previous sugya of the Gemarah. The Gemarah quoted the Shitta of Rabbi Yossi in a Braisa. Rabbi Yossi holds that liquid can become Tameh min HaTorah, and it can also transfer Tumah min HaTorah. That's what Rabbi Yossi held. Not only rabbinically, but also biblically. And the practical ramifications of that would be that if you have a suffix, if it did it, you go l'chumra, right? You're stringent, and you say that it's tameh. So if I have a stick, and at the tip of that stick there is a liquid that's tameh, and I shake the stick, and the water goes flying, and I'm not sure it lands on a piece of bread or not. It's a suffix if the liquid touched the bread or not. If it would be a suffix in a dirabanan, a tumah dirabanan, meaning even if it touched it, it's only tameh dirabanan, then I would go lekula, and I would be lenient. But since it's a suffix d'oraisa, so we learned, we go lechumra, and we assume that the water touched the bread even though we're not sure, and therefore the bread is tameh ala suffix. That was what Rabbi Yossi said earlier in the Braisa, that tumas mashkin is not only tameh on its own, but it can even transfer the tumah. Unlike Reb Meir, who said that tumas mashkin is for itself, but not to transfer. And Rabbi Yossi said, no, it's even to transfer. Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon said, even to transfer Tumah min HaTorah is also a biblical reality. And the Gemarah said afterwards that Rish Lakish said that Rabbi Yossi is following the Shitta of his Rebbe. Which Rebbe? Rabbi Akiva. Because Rabbi Akiva said that in the Pasuk in Parshas Shmini where it says, Mikala oichel asher ye'achel asher yavi alav mayim yitma, Rabbi Akiva said that yitma should also be understood as yitame, that the food in a klei cheres doesn't only become tameh, it also transfers tumah. And Rabbi Akiva learned from this pasuk that what? That a food that becomes a sheni can make other food a shlish, can make another liquid a shlishi. In other words, food doesn't only become tameh, food also transfers tumah. That's what Rabbi Akiva taught us. That kikar sheni oisa shlishi. That if you have a kikar, a loaf of bread that becomes a sheni, by going into a keli that was a rishon because it touched a sheretz. So the sheretz is an av, and the keli is a rishon, and the kikar is a sheni. And if that kikar becomes tameh, it can transfer tumah to something else, min haTorah. And Rabbi Akiva believed that that's even chulin, even a mundane food or mundane drink can become tameh, even if it's a shlishi. So if I have wine in my house and my tameh dika bread, which was a sheni, falls into my wine, Rabbi Akiva would say that wine is affected min haTorah, right? That wine becomes a shlishi min haTorah because yitma should be understood as yitame. That's Rabbi Akiva's shitta. Right. So that we're going to address soon. That many Tanoim hold that chulin stops after sheni, but Rabbi Akiva holds it goes one more generation. Right. It goes even to shlishi. Yeah. Right. Other Tanaim hold that only Truma goes to Shlishi. But Rabbi Akiva holds even Chulin goes to Shlishi. So just like Rabbi Akiva, when it came to food, he explained the word Yitma as meaning Yitame. So Rabbi Yossi follows that Shitta, and he says the second half of the pasuk, which speaks about drinks, and it says that the drinks is Yitma, it also means Yitame. That the mashkin could be Mitame. So Mamela, you know that Tumas mashkin is b'dairaisa not only to receive Tumah, but also to transfer tumah. That's what Rish Lakish taught us, that Rabbi Yossi is following the shitta of his Rebbe, Rabbi Akiva. Okay, that's it. Rabbi Akiva said it in the beginning of the pasuk, Mikala oichel asher yachel asher yavi alav mayim yitma, and Rabbi Akiva said yitma is yitame. So Rabbi Yossi expands that, and he says, okay, and the second half of the pasuk uses the same exact word for liquid. V'chol mashka sheyishasa b'chol kli yitma. So just like you said, the first yitma could also be read as yitame, it intimates Yitame, even though it's read Yitma. And we know why it has to be pronounced Yitma. The Gemarah already told us yesterday, because it has to be pronounced Yitma to teach me that it doesn't just transfer Tumah to anything. It transfers Tumah to another liquid, not to another food. But the bottom line is that Yitma and Yitame are both important interpretations in this pasuk. So just like my Rabbi Akiva said it about Oichlin, Rabbi Yossi says, I'm going to say the same thing about Mashke. And therefore, it's not just we learn from this pasuk that Mashke becomes Tameh. We also learn from this pasuk that Mashke is Mitame. Yitame. Mashke, that's Tameh, transfers Tumah to another food. That's what Rabbi Yossi is teaching us. This is what Rish Lakish said. Rabbi Yossi didn't just invent this from nowhere. He's following the pattern of thought of Rabbi Akiva. That's what the Gemarah said. So Ravina now asks Rabbi Ashi a question. But Rava told us, Loi Rabbi Yossi savik Rabbi Akiva, v'loi Rabbi Akiva savik Rabbi Yossi. Rava told us that Rabbi Yossi does not agree with Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva does not agree with Rabbi Yossi. What do we mean they don't agree? They don't agree about what? What don't agree about? So the Gemarah is going to explain what they don't agree about. There is basically something Rabbi Yossi said about how Tumah works in terms of Shlishi and Revi, which we're going to learn. And it's obvious that he does not hold like Rabbi Akiva in what Rabbi Akiva said. It's also obvious that Rabbi Akiva does not agree with what Rabbi Yossi is going to be teaching us. In other words, in this sugya, we're going to explain what this means, but we're going to show that Rabbi Yossi had a certain shitta about Tumah. Rabbi Akiva had a certain shitta about Tumah, and they did not agree with each other. We're going to prove they did not agree with each other. They had two different perspectives in this sugya. Thank you, Rabbi Noach. We're going to show that Rabbi Yossi, who teaches something about Tumah, did not agree with Rabbi Akiva said in the previous Mishnah. What did Rabbi Akiva say? That a sheni could make a shlishi, yitma yitame. We're going to show Rabbi Yossi does not agree with Rabbi Akiva. We're also going to show Rabbi Akiva does not agree with Rabbi Yossi in what Rabbi Yossi taught, which, of course, creates a major problem. What's the problem? Before we get into the details, let's understand the problem. The problem is, you said that Rabbi Yossi holds that mashka can transfer Tumah min HaTorah. That's what the Brisa taught us in Daf Tazayin Amud Aleph. What's the source for that? Yitma, Yitame. There's no other source in the whole Torah that mashka could transfer Tumah, only Yitma, Yitame. Okay? If that's true, that Rabbi Yossi said that mashka could transfer Tumah from Yitma, Yitame, how can he disagree with Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva says that the pasuk says, "Mikol ha'oichel asher ye'achel, asher yavei alav ma'ayim yitma yitame." That's the source of Rabbi Yossi, that mashka is also metame. But what was that pasuk talking about? As we learned many times, a dead sheretz fell into the airspace of an earthenware pot. The dead sheretz is called an avatuma. The earthenware pot becomes tameh from the dead sheretz. It becomes a rishon l'tumah. The food that's now placed into this earthenware pot becomes a sheni l'tumah. This oichel is yitma, and we explained it's also yitame. If a sheni could be metame, what does the other thing become? A shlishi. That's why Rabbi Akiva said that a loaf of bread that's a sheni could make a shlishi, because he learns yitma yitame. That's why Rabbi Akiva said that. Rabbi Akiva said, limed al kikar sheni sha'oisa shlishi. A kikar that's a sheni, a loaf of bread that's sheni, could create a shlishi, even by mundane food. And if you're learning yitma yitame, you can't argue with that. Because in this pasuk, where it says yitame, or at least we're interpreting it as yitame, it says yitma, but we're interpreting it yitame, it's talking about a sheni. So when you say that a sheni could be metame, it means a sheni makes a shlishi. And yet we're going to show that Rabbi Yossi doesn't agree with that. He disagrees with Rabbi Akiva, just as Rabbi Akiva disagrees with Rabbi Yossi. So here we have a major problem. How can Rava say that Rabbi Yossi doesn't agree with Rabbi Akiva? When Reish Lakish just told us that the source of Rabbi Yossi's idea that mashke could be metamim in HaTorah is from Rabbi Akiva's Yitma Yitame. There's no other source. It's not like Rabbi Yossi has another source that mashke could be metame. There's no other source. His only source is Yitma Yitame, which comes from Rabbi Akiva. So then there's something off here. We have two completely contradictory ideas. On one level, you're telling me that he's following the view of Rabbi Akiva because he says that mashke is metame, oichel min HaTorah, and the only source for that is what? This pasuk Yitma Yitame, which means he's following Rabbi Akiva's shitta, which is what we explained, who says Yitma Yitame. But then it means that he has to hold that a sheni could make a shlishi, and then Rava told us that Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva.
It have to be literally in the pasuk. You just say
well,
in a scenario when it could be metame.
Well, the pasuk is saying that this oichel is Yitma, which we're reading Yitame, and this oichel is a sheni. Amalei, Reb Ashis told Ravina, Reb Yossi b'shitas Reb Akiva, Rabbi Amra v'leiloi svirele. When we said before that Reb Yossi is saying this in the shitta of Reb Akiva, it doesn't mean he's following the shitta. It means he's saying what his Rebbe would hold, but he himself doesn't hold so. That's the pshat. It doesn't mean Rabbi Yossi b'shittas Rabbi Akiva like we thought that Rabbi Yossi is following the shitta of his Rebbe. My Rebbe held a certain way, and I developed that shitta because I agree. No, Rabbi Yossi does not agree with Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yossi has a different opinion. Rabbi Yossi, however, was expanding his Rebbe's shitta and explaining what his Rebbe would hold in the case of Tumas Mashka. Rabbi Yossi b'shitas Rabbi Akiva Rabbi Amra means Rabbi Yossi who said that the Tumah of Mashkin is min HaTorah even to transfer. He was saying that according to the shit of Rabbi Akiva. He was, so to speak, speaking for his Rebbe. He was the mouthpiece for his Rebbe, but he himself doesn't agree with this. In other words, when the Brisa told us on Daf Tezayin that Rabbi Yossi says that mashke could become tamei, not only on its own, but it can transfer tumah, he doesn't agree. He was saying it according to his Rebbe. He was the mouthpiece for his Rebbe. Since Rabbi Akiva learns Yitma's Yitame, and a sheni could make a shlishi by chulin, so therefore Rabbi Yossi says, obviously, my Rebbe would say the same thing by liquid, that Yitma is Yitame, and therefore liquid could be Tameh and be Metame other things min HaTorah. But me, myself, Rabbi Yossi holds that Mashka can't transfer Tumah min HaTorah. Yitma, not Yitame. Liquid min HaTorah cannot transfer Tumah. Why? Because he doesn't learn Yitma from the word Yitame. Yitma is Yitma, not Yitame. Rabbi Yossi himself, tainas, that you're supposed to read it Yitma, not Yitame. And therefore, he himself holds that liquid could become Tameh min HaTorah, but it can't be Metame anything else min HaTorah. And he taka disagrees with Rabbi Akiva, so therefore there's no contradiction there. When we said Rabbi Yossi is following the shit of Rabbi Akiva, we didn't mean that he agrees with the shit of Rabbi Akiva. We meant that he was speaking according to the shit of Rabbi Akiva and saying Rabbi Akiva would hold that Tumas Mashkin is min HaTorah even to transfer. But he himself, taka, doesn't agree with that. He holds that mashke can only become tamei on its own. Now we come to the question of what did Rava mean that Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi, which is what caused us to come to this conclusion. So now the Gemarah is going to explain what this means. Amalei Rav Ashi Rav Kahana. Rav Ashi turns to Rav Kahana. Remember the conversation. Ravina turned to Rav Ashi and asked a question based on what Rava said. So Rav Ashi answered Ravina and said it's not a problem. But now Rav Ashi challenges the very idea of Rava. I understand what it means that Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva, that a sheni could make a shlishi by chulin. I can prove that. We know that Rabbi Yossi cannot agree with Rabbi Akiva that a sheni makes a shlishi by chulin. I'm going to prove that. What I have a problem is, he's going to get to that problem later, is what does it mean Rabbi Akiva doesn't agree with Rabbi Yossi? But I understand what it means. Remember, Rava said two things. Lo Rabbi Yossi savak Rabbi Akiva, v'lo Rabbi Akiva savak Rabbi Yossi. I know what it means that Rabbi Yossi doesn't agree with Rabbi Akiva, as he will explain. I don't know what it means that Rabbi Akiva doesn't agree with Rabbi Yossi. That's going to be Rabbi Ashi's question to Rabbi Kahana. It's going to be a long question because he's first going to explain the first piece and then he's going to explain the second piece. In order to understand what's coming, we have to have a little intro, a little introduction. Okay? You mind bringing chamashim? You know where the chamashim are? The blue chamashim. A großen Dank. We have to recall a few basic details about the halachas of Tumah in terms of eating various foods. A person becomes tamei. Let's say I touched a dead sheretz. I'm tamei now. I'm called a rishon because I touched a dead sheretz. There's a mole rat, it's dead. I touch it, and I'm tamei. I'm a rishon l'tumah. If I go to the mikveh, I become tahor. I'm pure. I'm good. So now, if I take a piece of bread and I start eating it, this piece of bread is not tamei. Why is the piece of bread not tamei? Because I went to the mikveh already. If I touch the bread before I went to the mikveh, the bread becomes a sheni. I touched a sheretz. Sheretz is an av. I'm a rishon, right? I touch my bread. My bread is a sheni. Or if I take my cup of water, my cup of wine, and I touch it, I touch the liquid becomes a sheni. Granted. But I went to the mikveh. Because I went to the mikveh, I'm good. I'm a tahor person. I can now touch food, I can touch drinks, and everything is pure because I'm pure. I went out of the mikveh. That's what the pasuk says. When you go to the mikveh, you're tahor. But the pasuk also adds, you have to wait till sunset to become tahor. So from here, we derive that there's two states of tahara. There's one that happens right after mikveh, and there's one that happens only after nightfall. What's the difference between the two? The first state of tahara is not complete. You can touch chulin, and the chulin will remain pure. But if you touch truma, the truma will become impure. You're not allowed to eat truma. If I'm a kohen, and I come out of the mikveh, I'm not allowed to eat truma. What do I have to wait for? Nightfall. That's the opening of the first Mishnah in Maseches Brachas, the whole Mishnayos. Me'emas ha'karden hashma ba'arvin, misha sha'koyanim nechnasim lechel b'trumasa. From when do you reach Shema at night? From when? What's called night? From the time that the koyanim go in to eat truma. What does it mean? Why koyanim can't eat truma by day? It means a koyan who was tamei, and the koyan went to the mikveh, he can't eat truma during the day. He has to wait till nightfall, and only then is the koyan allowed to eat truma. Till nightfall is called a tvul yom. What's a tvul yom? A tvul yom means somebody who's tvul, he went to the mikveh, he had tvila, but it's still that day. It's tvul. He's tavel, he went to the tvila, he had a tvila, he submerged himself in the water, but it's still yom. It's the same day of the tumah. He just went to the mikveh that day. In other words, night didn't come yet. It's not a new day yet. And because night didn't come yet, he's still quasi-tameh. He's not really tameh, he came out of the mikveh. Anything he touches will not become tameh. But in terms of truma, he is not considered tahor yet. Why? Because truma is so sensitive, it's so holy, it's so sacred, that it can pick up, its antennas are so subtle and so sensitive, it can pick up even the slightest tumah. And since the day I went to the mikveh, before nightfall, I'm still in the same day when I was tameh, because I only went to the mikveh that day. So if I touch truma, truma picks up that subtle tumah, and I'm not allowed to eat truma until nightfall. Once nightfall happens, then I can eat truma. Yeah, that's fine. That's why we say that the koyanim can eat truma only at night. Okay, that's halacha number one. Next situation. So remember this distinction. If I'm a tvul yom and I touch regular food, it's all good. Nothing is tameh. The chulin doesn't pick up any time. I went to the mikveh. But truma, I'm a kohen, I'm not allowed to eat truma. And if I touch the truma, it becomes pasul. Truma becomes pasul. Comes disqualified. it becomes tamei. It becomes pasul, it's called. Remember, the word pasul we use when something becomes disqualified to eat, but it doesn't transfer to something else. Tamei means it can transfer it also to something else. That's the distinction between pasul and tamei. If a chulin sheni touches truma, that's a shlishi. Truma becomes shlishi and it's pasul. If a tvul yoim touches truma, before harav shemesh. If a tvul yoim touches truma, the truma becomes a shlishi and it's pasul. Tvul yoim always means before harav shemesh. Tvul yoim means you went to the mikveh that day. It's that day. Tvul yoim. It's still the middle of the day. Harav shemesh means the sun set, it's night. This settles the contradiction between the psukim. The pasuk says you go to the mikveh, you're pure. The pasuk says at night you're pure. What, I'm pure or I'm not pure? Which is it? The answer is depends for what. You're pure relative to most things. You're still not pure relative to truma. But now this next step. There are some situations where a person doesn't only need to go to the mikveh, they also have to bring a carbon. You can't bring a carbon at night. B'yom tzavoise, a carbon can only be brought by day. You're only allowed to shech the behemoth, sprinkle the blood on the mizbeach by day. That's what we learn. All karbanos can only be done by day. From the morning, early morning, sunrise, throughout the whole day. So what happens? So there are tumas usually when I touch a sheretz, I don't have to bring a carbon. When I touch a mace, I don't have to bring a carbon. When I touch other sources of tumah, I touch a zav, I don't have to bring a carbon. But if the tumah comes from me myself, a zav himself has to bring a carbon. A zav has to bring a carbon. Right? A yoiledes has to bring a carbon, a woman who gives birth. A mitzayr has to bring a carbon. You see the common denominator? These are all tumas that come from the person themselves. A zav and a zava and a mitzayra and a yoiledes. They bring a carbon the next day after mikveh. So now, when they go to the mikveh, at night, they can eat truma, but they can't eat karbanos. This is called mechusar kippurim. Mechusar kippurim means you're still lacking kapara, you're lacking atonement. So even though a tvul yoim can't eat truma, he can eat chulin, but he can't eat truma. But at night, he can eat truma, but he still can't eat a carbon if he's mechusar kippurim. Why? Because the kedusha of a carbon is even more than the kedusha of truma. And therefore, even after nightfall, I'm still considered tamei relative to touching a carbon. So if I'm a Jew, and I went to the mikveh, and it's nightfall, and I want to eat a carbon, I'm not allowed to. Why? Because I have to wait till tomorrow when I bring my carbon for my tumah, and then I'm done. That explains a third pasuk. There's a third pasuk that tells us that only after the woman who gives birth brings a carbon, only then she's pure. But 1 second, you told me you're pure after mikveh, then you told me you're pure after nightfall, then you told me you're pure after you bring a carbon. Which one is it? The answer is it's 3 different levels of purity. After you come out of the mikveh, you're pure for everything, besides truma. Whatever you touch is pure. You can touch chulin, it's pure. You can even touch meiser. Meiser sheni, for example. Meiser sheni are the fruits that we bring to Yerushalayim to eat. You're not allowed to eat it when you're tamei. You're not allowed to eat it when it's tamei. But if you're at tvul yom, you're not considered tamei. You can eat meiser. But when it comes to truma, you're not allowed to eat truma till nightfall. Once nightfall comes, I can eat truma. But what if you want to give me the meat of a carbon? I'm in Yerushalayim, and you just made a carbon, you want to give me the meat? I'm not allowed to eat the meat. You know why? Because I'm a zav or I'm a mitzayr, and tomorrow morning I still have to bring a carbon, even though I went to the mikveh, and even though it's nightfall. But legabe kodesh, legabe karbonos, I'm still not allowed to eat a carbon. I'm not allowed to eat till tomorrow. Tomorrow, when I bring my carbon, now my purity is complete. Now I can eat anything. Yeah. That's called mechusar kippurim. I'm lacking the final step of kippurim, like Yom Kippurim, kapara. I'm lacking the final step of atonement. That's called mechusar kippurim. I just want to show you the psukim from where we learn out these 3 limudim, okay? I want to show you the psukim. So if you can just open up Vayikra Perek Chav Beis, Vayikra Perek Chav Beis, Pasuk Vav and Zayin. It's Parshas Emor, Perek Chav Beis, Pasuk Vav and Zayin. That's going to be in the blue Chumashim. It's going to be page 351. Page 351. Vayikra Perek Chav Beis, Parshas Emor. I want you just to see how this works, so you'll get a picture of this. Okay? And let's go to Pasuk. Let's go to Pasuk Hey. Yeah, Vayikra Parshas Emor Perek Chav Beis Pasuk Hey. You see 351, almost on the bottom of the page. Pasuk Hey. Oy ish asher yiga b'chol sheretz asher yitmaloi oy ba'adam asher yitmaloi l'chel tumasai. You touch any sheretz, which you become tameh, or you touch an adam, you touch a mace, which you become tameh. So basically, I touched a sheretz or I touched a mace. Nefesh asher tiga boy v'tama ada erev. Any person who touches the sheretz or the mace, yeah. Nefesh asher tiga boy, anybody who touches one of these tmeim, yeah, v'tama ad ha'erev, becomes tameh till the night. It becomes tameh till the night. So I touched a sheretz. So what's the halacha? Or I touched an adam who touched a mace. So I'm tameh till the night. V'lo yoichal min hakotshim ki imrachatz psarei b'mayim. I cannot eat min hakotshim until I bathe, I wash my flesh in water. You see what it says? I'm tameh till the night. That means I have to wait till night. Then it says, I can eat from the kachim after I bathe in water. Lo yoichel min hakachim ki imrachatz psarei b'mayim. But now look at the next pasuk. Uva hashemesh v'taher. When the sun sets, you become pure. V'achar yoichel min hakachim. And then you can eat from the karbonos. Ki lachmayu. You see what's happening here? We have a multi-contradictions. First you tell me I'm tameh till the night. Then you tell me I can't eat from the karbonos till I go into the water. Then you tell me I have to wait till sunset and then I become tired, and then I can eat from the kachim. Like, why do you have to be so confusing? You could just say, Nefesh asher tigaboy, right? V'rachas psarei b'mayim, and only after night do you eat from kachim. But he says that you can also eat from kachim after you go into the water. So the question is, what is going on here? Lo yoichel min hakachim ki imrachatz psarei b'mayim. What is going on here? So the Gemarah learns out from this in Maseches Yevamos Daf Ayin Dalet that there's different stages. What are the different stages? There is that which you can eat right after mikveh. What is that? Meiser Sheni. Chulin and Meiser Sheni you can eat right after mikveh. That's why it says min hakachim. Min hakachim means you can't eat all the kachim, you can eat from the kachim. Then there is the kachim that you can eat after sunset, after nightfall. Uva hashemesh v'tar v'acha yoichel min hakachim. And that's what? Tumah. That's why it says again, min hakachim. Not all the kachim. You're not allowed to eat all kachim at nightfall. You can only eat min hakachim. And then there are those kachim that you can only eat the next morning. If you have to bring a carbon, so then mikveh and nightfall is not enough. You also have to wait till they bring your carbon in the morning, and then you could eat everything. Then you're completely tahor. So right here we already see that there's two stages of tahara. One is after mikveh, and one is after nightfall. One works for Meiser Sheni, and one works for Truma. And if you eat Truma too early, it's not good. You're not allowed to eat Truma too early. Truma is part of kachim, but it's not all of kachim. That's why the pasuk says here, "V'achar yoichal min hakadashim." It doesn't say "V'achar yoichal hakadashim." Min hakadashim means you can eat from the kachim, which means there's a certain part of kachim that you can eat. Which part of kachim you can eat? So this is truma. Truma you can eat, even though you're mechusei kapurim. Now, if you're going to look in Parshas, I want you to look in one more place, Parshas Tazria. Parshas Tazria, right in the beginning, speaks about a woman who gives birth. Take a look at page 318. 318. Okay? It speaks about a woman who gives birth. I'm sorry, 317. 317. Parshas Tazria, it's Vayikra Perikid Beis Pasuk Daled. A woman gives birth to a male, to a boy. At the 8th day, you give him a bris. Pasuk Daled. Shloshim yom shloshim yom teisha b'dmei tara. Okay. She becomes tamei for 7 days after birth. She goes to the mikveh. For the next 33 days, she sits b'dmei tara, in blood of purity. B'chol kodesh lo siga v'la mikdash lo savei ad maloi simei tara. She can't touch kodesh, kol kodesh, anything holy. She can't come to the Beis HaMikdash until the days of Tara are full, are completed. She can't touch any kodesh all the days of Tara. So remember, she was a nida. 7 days after birth, she went to the mikveh. Biblically, she can now be with her husband. It's fine. It's fine. But the next 33 days, right, which begins after 7 days since the baby was born, it's called Yemei Tahara. She's pure, but she still can't touch Kodesh. She can't touch Kodesh. She can't come into the Beis HaMikdash. When is that going to change? He says, V'im nekeva seiled, if she's a female, so it's all double. She's tummy for 2 weeks, and then she has to count 66 days. Altogether, it's 80 days, 66 and 14, Dmei Tara. Now, Pasuk Vav, Ubimloi simei Tara leveina levas, when those days are full, whether it's for a son, which is 33 days, or for a female, which is 66 days, Tavi keves ben shnasi la'oila ben yoina ser lechatos. This woman who gave birth has to bring a carbon. She brings a carbon oila, she brings a carbon chatos. Yeah. V'ikrivo lefnei Hashem, v'chiper aleha v'tahara. Ooh, he brings the carbon, and suddenly now she becomes pure. This means till this point she's called tamei. Till this point, that's what he says also in Pasuk Ches, v'chiper aleha koyen v'tahera. Okay, so now let's understand. Her tvul yoim continues for 33 days. She went to the mikveh after 7 days. Unlike a regular tvul yoim, it continues till the night. For her, she's a long tvul yoim. Her tvul yoim continues for a very, very long time. She went to the mikveh at the end of 7 days, like every woman who's a nida. But what's considered her arev shemesh that she becomes tahar? Shkia of day 40. Sunset of day 40, or by a woman, by a female girl, shkia of day 80, that's her harev shemesh. Why? Because the next morning she's going to bring her carbon. So that becomes her harev shemesh. So she can eat truma at the nightfall of day 40 or the nightfall of day 80. But she's still called tamei till she brings a carbon. So how do we reconcile all of this? So we say, legabe karbanos, she's still called tamei. She can't come to the Beis HaMikdash, and she cannot eat karbanos until she brings her carbon the next morning. So we have 3 stages: tvul yoim, harev shemesh, and mechusa kippurim. 14 days after the girl is born, and another 66 days. 33 and 7 by a boy, 14 and 66 by a girl. So if a woman gives birth on Sunday, so the first 7, she's tamei. She can't be with her husband. She's considered a nida. I'm talking biblically, right? Let's say she gave birth on Sunday. So for 7 days, she's a nida. Mitzvah Shabbos, she goes to the mikveh. She can now be with her husband. She's not considered a nida. But for the next 33 days, by a male, or after 14 days and the next 66 days for a female, she's still considered tamei. Relative to what? Relative to truma, relative to karbonis, right? Relative to going to the Beis HaMikdash. She can eat chulin and not make it tamei. She can eat meiser sheni and not make it tamei. She went to the mikveh. She's not a nida anymore. She's considered a tvul yoim, and her tvul yoim goes for 33 days. At the end of 33 days, nightfall, now she can eat truma because she has harev shemesh. Tomorrow morning, she's going to bring a carbon, so she's still mechusa kippurim. So you have stage 1 is going to the mikveh. That's called tvul yoim. Stage 2 is nightfall. That's called harev shemesh, which means the sun sets completely. Harev shemesh. Stage 3 is when you bring the carbon. Even after harev shemesh, you're mechusa kippurim, you have to bring a carbon. And each stage allows you to do something else. Stage 1, you can eat meiser sheni and chulin and not make it tamei. Stage 2, you can eat truma. Stage 3, you can go to the Beis HaMikdash and eat karbanos. Yes, after mikveh. After 7 days, she can eat Meiser Sheni and Chulin, and it will not become Tameh. Exactly. Yes. She's still not eligible to eat Truma, even though she's the wife of a Kohen or the daughter of a Kohen, but she's in a state of quasi-Tumah. I should just say, when you're Tumah, you can eat Chulin. It's not a problem. You're allowed to eat Chulin always, but the Chulin is going to become Tumah. That's it. I just want to specify that. No, it was just Tumah. He has to be careful. Huh? No, Tful Yom will not transfer Tumah to Chulin. But I'm saying even if you're Tameh and you eat Chulin, it's fine. It's just the Chulin is Tameh. Tful Yom doesn't transfer Tumah to anything but Truma or Karbonos. If she's a Tful Yom, she's Metame the Truma. No. A Tful Yom that touches Chulin, nothing happens. The Chulin is completely pure. A Tful Yom, you're tired enough not to transfer Tumah to Chulin. Remember, the more sensitive something is, the more holy it is, the more sensitive. The more it picks up even the most subtle form of Tumah. Okay? This introduction is clear, right? So now let's take it to the next step. On the 80th day. 81. So she brings a carbon day 81 in the morning, but Truma she can already eat the night before day 81. Meaning 80 days, nightfall, after 80 days, she can eat Truma. The next morning, 81, she could bring a carbon and then she's completely pure. So her Tful Yom is unique from other Tumas because her Tful Yom extends for 66 days. Usually Tful Yom extends for a couple of hours. If I touch the sheretz at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm going to be Tameh till, I'm going to be at Tful Yom till 8 o'clock, till 7 o'clock. What's nightfall now? 8 o'clock. So if I touch the sheretz, I don't have to bring a carbon. So once night happens, I'm completely tired. I can go to the Beis Hamikdash, I can eat carbonas. If I have to bring a carbon the next day, so my tumah continues till I bring a carbon on a subtle level. I can't go to the Beis Hamikdash and I can't eat carbonas. I'm not allowed to eat carbonas. It's very practical if it's Pesach, for example, and we're having a Seder, right? And I'm at Tful Yom and I'm Mechusik Kapurim, I have a problem. Even though I went to the mikveh that day. So yeah. By the boy, it's a 31st day carbon, and by the girl, it's the 81st day. So she gives birth to a baby boy on Sunday. She's Tameh till Shabbos. Mitzvah Shabbos, she goes to the mikveh. She counts another 33 days. Altogether, it's 40 days, right? Another 33 days. When those 33 days are over, that night she can eat truma, Hariv Shemesh, and the next morning, day 41, she brings a carbon and her status is now complete Tara. Okay, that's... The deeper reason is because we explained in our introduction to the sugya that Tumah is always a reflection of the tremendous potentiality of holiness. A very great elevated place. Yeah, when she gives birth to a female, there was a much greater source of holiness in her womb that she emitted, and that's what the Tumah is. Because remember, a girl is going to be able to bring more life. So that's why the Tumah is also increased, because the Kedusha is more powerful. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So therefore the void after the birth of a female is much deeper than the void after the birth of a male. Because the tremendous creativity and holiness that was there is much more powerful, because when she gives birth, when she gives birth to a female, she's giving birth to another creator of life.
Right? Heard that too, right? So you want to say that by a female, because she has that ability of self,
Yeah. It's gotten greater.
a magnification.
Yeah. So now let's see inside. If ain't tumah tchuya b'tzibur, but for that you have to have most of the tzibur tameh. Yeah. Tumah tchuya b'tzibur, you have to have most of the tzibur tameh, most of the kayanim tameh. If I'm tameh myself, I can't bring a carbon pesach. Just that's what happened by Pesach Sheni, right? That's why you have Pesach Sheni. Yeah. Tumah tchuya b'tzibur, right? If we would bring the carbon pesach today, according to the shit of the Rambam, that you could bring a carbon even if there's no Beis Hamikdash. So if we would bring a carbon pesach today, we would build a mizbeach on the Harabayis and bring a carbon, we would be allowed to. Because all the Kayanim are tameh and all the Jewish people are tameh, and therefore Tumah Hutra B'tzibur or Tumah Tchidi, we would allow to bring a carbon pesach, which is why some of the Rishonim and Acharayim held you should bring a carbon pesach today. Why? Because it's not a problem of Tumah, because we're all tameh. So the Kayanim could shech Tumah, the Kayanim could sprinkle blood Tumah, and we can eat the carbon pesach b'Tumah. It's a gewaldige chiddush, but that's Tumah Hutra b'tzibur. But that's only the tzibur, not an individual. Of course. If they could, obviously if it's going to endanger life, then you don't have to. If she's in the middle of what? Oh, if she could. If she's tameh, she can't. That's why this Pesach Sheni. Fine, it's not her fault, huh? You're right. You want to know if a woman, it says the Rambam was born Erev Pesach, the Maharal was born by the Seder, right? So she maybe could eat the carbon Pesach. But you want to know if it was the time of the Beis Hamikdash, right? The Rambam's mother would not be able to eat the carbon Pesach. Okay. Yeah, I mean, she's tameh. Amalei Rabbi Ashi Reb Kahana. Reb Ashi told Reb Kahana, Bishlema Rabbi Yossi lo savalok Rabbi Akiva. I understand that Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva. The Tanya, we learned a brayso. Amar Rabbi Yossi taught minayin l'revi b'kodesh or apostle. How do we know that a revi b'kodesh is apostle? Let's remember and remind ourselves another detail in Hilchas Tumah V'Tara. Usually when it comes to Tumah, everything that's Tameh and it transfers Tumah, so the thing that receives Tumah goes down a level. So if there's a sheretz is an Ava Tumah. If the sheretz touches a keli, the keli becomes a Risha. If the keli touches food, the food becomes a Sheni. If that food is going to touch another drink, that drink, what's the status of that drink? So Rabbi Akiva said that drink will become a Shlishi even if it's Chulin, right? Many Tanoim don't hold that. They hold that Shlishi only applies to Truma and Karbanas, meaning Chulin will never go down more than Sheni. Tumah is going to stop by Sheni and it cannot travel any further because it's too weak to give off Tumah. So that means if I have a piece of bread that touched a keli, that touched a sheretz, that piece of bread is called a Sheni. And if that piece of bread touches grapes or touches wine, that wine will remain tahar. Why? Because it's too weak, a Tumah to transfer. Rabbi Akiva disagrees. Rabbi Akiva holds that even in Chulin, it will still have a Shlishi. Okay, we'll soon see the details of that. What about Revi? So the Tanoim agree, most Tanoim agree that when it comes to Truma, there's a Shlishi. So if my Tameh de Kechala, I come to your house, you're a Kayin, you invited me, right? And my piece of Challah, which is a Sheni, falls into your Kiddush cup, which is Truma. Your Truma is Shlishi and the Kayin can't drink it anymore. Sorry, it's called Tameh de Truma. You can use it for fuel in your fire, but you cannot eat that Truma anymore because Truma becomes a Shlishi. Truma is sensitive to a Sheni and it becomes a Shlishi. Okay. What about Revi? Now your wine, which is Truma, right, falls on another Kayan's bread, which is Truma. It doesn't travel anymore. In other words, it stops by Shlishi. Why? It's too weak to transfer Tumah to another Truma. It's too weak. Truma could become tummy from a Sheni, but not from a Shlishi. Remember, every level goes down and down and down. So Chulin will stop by Sheni. Truma will stop by Shlishi. But Karbonos even has Revi. So if your bread of Truma became a Shlishi, and now I'm eating the meat of my Carbon Pesach, and your matzah, which became a Shlishi, right? Because it touched his wine, which was a sheni. Because it touched the keli, which was a rishon. Because it touched the sheretz, which was an av. You with me? And now the sheretz touched the keli. The keli touched the bread. The bread, which is a sheni, touched your wine, which is shlishi truma. And your wine now pours, falls, right, spills on my meat of my carbon. My meat becomes a revi. And I can't eat it anymore. I have to burn it. It's called a revi. But there's no chamishi. The revi doesn't become a chamishi. If my meat now touches matzah of a carbon, or touches something else of a carbon, right? A liquid or oil or meat, it doesn't go anymore because it's too weak. It's too weak. So we have chulin stops by shlishi, by sheni, doesn't go further. Truma doesn't go further than shlishi, and karbonos doesn't go further than revi. That's why we say truma becomes a shlishi and kachim becomes a revi. But that's it. It stops. Now, here's the challenge. The Torah doesn't say any of this explicitly. Torah doesn't tell us this. Torah doesn't say that truma becomes a shlishi. Torah doesn't say that karbonos become a revi. So where did the Chazal get this from? And the answer is they use the principle of kal v'chaimer. And here we go back to our lovely kal v'chaimer. Kal v'chaimer is a formula that Moshe Rabbeinu gave the Jewish people in order to interpret Torah. That means, if I could say that if you could lift 200 weights, for sure you can lift 100 weights, that's a truth in Torah. That truth we apply to halacha. Meaning, if something could be learned out by kal v'chaimer, we take it seriously, and we will learn it out by kal v'chaimer. So the Torah says you're not allowed to be with your granddaughter. A man is not allowed to have relationships with his daughter's daughter. We know for sure that he's not allowed to have relationships with his daughter. Because if Hashem doesn't want you to be with your daughter's daughter, right? Certainly doesn't want you to be with a daughter. Because your daughter's daughter, what makes her close to you? That she's your daughter's daughter. So if you're not allowed to be with your daughter's daughter, are you allowed to be with your daughter? It doesn't say in Chumash. So you're allowed to do it? Kal v'chaimer. This is called kal v'chaimer. Kal v'chaimer is a very serious principle. So here is the kal v'chaimer that was made in order to deduce shlishi and revi, because we don't have it in Chumash. Meaning, we have in Chumash that a sheretz is tameh, that a keli becomes tameh, that food becomes tameh, that liquids become tameh, right? We have in Chumash a concept. We learned out that a tvul yoim is still tameh because you have to wait till the nightfall. We learned that. They have to wait till the nightfall to eat some karbonos. And we deduce from the Gemarah deduces that it's talking about truma. So we have sources for that in Chumash. But what about truma becoming a shlishi and kodesh becoming a revi? How do we get to this? That truma becomes a shlishi, kodesh becomes a revi. So how did this happen? So the way it happens is like this. Rabbi Akiva holds that a sheni could make a shlishi even chulin. Remember that. For sure, truma. You're not going to discriminate against truma. So Rabbi Akiva knows that a shlishi could be tameh, pasul, whether it's chulin or truma, because he learns it out from yitma yitame. That's Rabbi Akiva. But even the chachamim who hold that sheni doesn't make a shlishi and chulin, all agree that by truma there's a shlishi. Where did they get this? Where did they get this idea that by truma there's something called a shlishi? The answer is the Gemarah in Seitzi Chavtes says it's a kal v'chaimer. What's the kal v'chaimer? The kal v'chaimer works like this. A tvul yoim is allowed to eat chulin. No problem. He's not allowed to eat truma. He's not allowed to eat truma. So b'meila they learned out from this, if a tvul yoim is allowed to eat chulin, but he's not allowed to eat truma, so then a sheni, which is pasul for truma, for sure will make truma a shlishi. A tvul yoim, which is, who's allowed to eat chulin, still he's not allowed to eat truma, right? So it's a kal v'chaimer that a sheni in chulin, a sheni, which is pasul in chulin, for sure will make a shlishi truma. That was the kal v'chaimer. I'll say it again. A tvul yoim, somebody who went to the mikveh. Yeah. What's the halacha if he touches chulin? It's all good. He's allowed to. Doesn't become tameh. Still, the Torah says that he's not allowed to eat truma. And if he touches the truma, what happens? the truma becomes pasul. So a tvul yoim touches truma, and the truma becomes pasul. Okay. So now I ask you a question. If you have sheni food that's tameh, and it touches truma, does it make sense to say that the truma is pasul based on this? For sure. Madach tvul yoim, who's allowed to eat chulin, and he will not pasul the chulin. The chulin remains completely pure. Lagabe chulin, he's mutter completely. Nonetheless, truma is so sensitive that if truma comes in contact with the tvul yoim, that truma becomes pasul, and he's not allowed to eat that truma. He's not allowed to eat it. He's not supposed to come in contact with that truma, because you're not allowed to disqualify truma.
So that's the 200 pounds?
Yeah. So ma da chatvul yoim, who is allowed to eat chulin, and the chulin will not get tameh. In other words, there's no tumah coming from a tvul yoim to chulin. He's completely pure when it comes to chulin. Nonetheless, truma is so sensitive that if he touches truma or he eats truma, it's forbidden. He's not allowed to eat truma. And if he touches the truma, he's metameh. He makes the truma pasul. I should say pasul, not tameh. He makes the truma pasul. Remember, pasul means it's disqualified, but it doesn't transfer. Tameh means it's disqualified and it transfers. Right, but not the truma, so that's why I'm saying pasul. That's why I'm saying pasul. So Madach Tvul Yoim, who's allowed to eat chulin and the chulin remains tar. Still, truma is so sensitive that if it comes in contact with the Tvul Yoim, what's the halacha? The Tvul Yoim becomes pasul and he's not allowed to eat truma. He's disqualified from truma. Truma says, go away from me. So now I ask you a question. When you have sheni food that's tameh, should it be allowed to touch truma? Will it affect the truma if the truma touches it or not? If the truma is so sensitive that it picks up truma from a tvul yoim, it picks up truma from a tvul yoim, and a tvul yoim is mutter in chulin. A tvul yoim is completely mutter in chulin. There's no impact in chulin. It's completely tar legabe a tvul yoim. Tvul yoim touches chulin, nothing happens. The chulin is tar. Still, if the tvul yoim comes in contact with truma, truma is gone. It's pasul. It's disqualified. The truma looks at the tvul yoim and says, stay away from me. I cannot deal with your tumah. So now I ask you a question. If I take a sheni food or a sheni drink and I bring it to truma, what will be the truma's reaction? Will the truma be affected by it or not? What does logic dictate? For sure. If it's a sheni that's tameh, it's a chulin that's tameh, and it touches truma, for sure the truma will pick up that. For sure the truma will pick it up, and the truma will become a shlishi. According to Rabbi Akiva, you don't need this kal v'chaimer. That's going to be a discussion in one moment. That's going to be the crux of the argument here. Okay, that's going to be the crux of the argument. The crux of the argument is, would Rabbi Akiva believe that there's a revi by truma? We'll get to that in a moment. But this kal v'chaimer you get, if the tvul yoim is mutter in chulin, nonetheless, truma is still disqualified from him. That's how sensitive truma is. So now when you have a piece of food that's tameh, it's a sheni, it's tameh, and it touches truma, what are you going to say? Oh, nothing happens? A tvul yoim makes truma pasul, and sheni doesn't make truma pasul? That's the kal v'chaimer. Yeah. No, the tvul yoim is the kal legabe truma. Madacha tvul yoim, which is much more lenient. It's a much more kal, right? We'll say like this. Madach this. We'll say like this. If this 10-year-old boy can pick up this table, so this 30-year-old muscular wrestler could certainly pick up the table. The kal, yeah. Yeah. He can eat chulin and not be at metame. And still the tvul yoim, the kal, is not allowed to come in contact with truma. He's not allowed to eat it, and if he eats it, and if he touches it, he passes, he disqualifies the truma. Because it's so sensitive. So certainly food that's tamei, chulin food that's tamei, it's mamish tamei. A tvul yoim legabe chulin is called tahir. He's a tahir guy. Still, truma is so sensitive that he's pasels truma. So you have a piece of food that's tamei. It's not a tahir guy. It's a tamei food called sheni. If truma comes in contact with it, for sure, the truma becomes disqualified, and we will call it a shlishi. Yeah. That's how Chazal and Masechta Seitzi Daf Chavtes learned the concept of truma as a shlishi. Yeah. The tful yoim is the kal, and the sheni food is the chamer. Atazai is the chamer. So the Gemarah now says, now you'll get it. The Tanya Amar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, Menayin l'revi b'kodesh shel pasel. How do I know that by kodesh, by karbonis, a revi also becomes pasel? V'dinhu. I'm going to give you a kal v'chaimer. Now listen to this kal v'chaimer. It's going to be the same logic, so you'll understand it. Uma mechusik kipurim shemuter betruma pasel b'kodesh. Ma'adach mechusik kipurim is allowed to eat truma. But he's still pasel. He's forbidden to eat kodesh, to eat karbonis. Shlishi shepasel betruma einay din sheyaser revi b'kodesh. Go one step further. A shlishi which is disqualified by truma, as we just explained from the kal v'chaim of a tful yoim, shouldn't make a revi b'kodesh. We're going to do this again. Ma'adacha mechusa kippurim, who's allowed to eat truma. What's a mechusa kippurim? I went to the mikveh, it's nightfall. I'm allowed to eat truma. Truma says, good, eat me, you're tired. You went to the mikveh, it's night. I'm allowed to eat truma. I'm completely pure when it comes to truma. Still, if I touch a carbon, whoa, stay away from me. I'm a mechusa kippurim. I went to the mikveh, it's nightfall. All's good. You're good for truma, you're not good for me. I'm too sensitive. Karbonis are too sensitive. So the karbonis are now let it be eaten by a mechusa kippurim. Now I ask you a question. You have a piece of truma that's puzzle. If that piece of truma touches a carbon, shouldn't it make it a revi? If a mechusa kippurim has that koyach, and he's now let it touch, he's now let it eat karbonis. And if he does, he disqualifies it. He makes it possible. Even though legabe truma, he's absolutely pure. He's pure as gets. Truma says, I got no problem with you. I'm pure, you're pure, we're a good shidduch. Still, when I come in contact with karbonis, the karbonis are allergic to me. They're too sensitive to me because I'm a mechusa kippurim. So now I ask you a question, Rabbi Yossi says. If that carbon doesn't touch me, it touches a piece of truma that became puzzle, that has a tumah, a piece of truma, whether a bread or wine, whatever of truma, that is puzzle. It shouldn't get affected by it. It gets affected by me, it doesn't get affected by that. That's Rabbi Yossi's source for Revi B'Kodesh. Verstehst? You see how this works? Now, how do you know that Revi B'Kodesh? Because if a mechusa kippurim makes it possible, for sure shlishi makes it possible. How do you know there could be a shlishi truma? We already learned a kal v'chaimer from tful yoim. So this is how it's working. We're doing kal v'chaimer and then another kal v'chaimer. Yeah. But then Rabbi Yossi added one line. V'lamadnu shlishi b'kodesh min ha'torah u'revi mikal v'chaimer. Now, for shlishi and kodesh, I don't need a kal v'chaimer. Shlishi and kodesh, I have a clear source in Chumash. Revi and kodesh, I have a kal v'chaimer. What does he mean? Shlishi min ha'torah. Where do you have a shlishi b'kodesh min ha'torah? The ksiv, we have a pasuk in Parshas Tzaf. What's the pasuk? V'habasar asher yiga b'chol tamei lo ye'achel. Any meat of a carbon that touches anything tamei is not allowed to be eaten and has to be burnt in fire. It says v'habasar asher yiga b'chol tamei. Anything that's tamei. Now I ask you a question. Is sheni food called tamei? Yeah. Yeah. Mikol ha'oichel asher ye'achel asher yavei alav mayim yitma. What does this pasuk say? That basar karbonis asher yiga b'chol tamei lo ye'achel. That means even a sheni. So we have a clear pasuk that a carbon could become a shlishi min ha'Torah. I don't need a kal v'chaimer for that.
How do you learn Kal V'chomer for Reviv? Maybe there's no concept of Reviv.
One second. Milo yaskinin the naga b'sheni. Is this pasuk not referring to a meat of a carbon that touched even a sheni? Because a sheni is also called tamei, and it says v'abasar asher yiga b'chol tamei. We learned before. If a sheretz touches a klei cheres touches food, that food is called tamei. Yitma, Parshas Shmini. Perikil Aleph pasuk lamed dalet. And it says basar asher yiga b'chol tamei. That includes a sheni. So from here I learn clearly that there's kodesh shlishi min ha'Torah. If a carbon touches a sheni, it becomes a shlishi. I don't need any kal v'chaimas. Or revi mikal v'chaimer kedamnena. But a revi b'kodesh that I need a kal v'chaimer. The kal v'chaimer is from mechusik kippurim. Madacha mechusik kippurim, whose mutter in truma is aser b'kodesh. For sure, shlishi in truma, which is puzzle of food, is certainly going to affect the kodesh and make it disqualified. That's my kal v'chaimer. So b'meila, shlishi truma, I need a kal v'chaimer from tvul yom, unless I'm Rabbi Akiva. Revi kodesh, I need a kal v'chaimer. Shlishi kodesh, I don't need a kal v'chaimer. I have a clear pasuk.
Then you go from Shlishi to Reviv.
I do.
You don't need that Kal V'chomer, you can take it with it.
No, the pasuk says that basar kodesh asher yiga b'chol tamei. But what's tamei? A sheni. In Chumash I only have tumah till sheni. So I know shlishi min ha'Torah clearly. How do I know revi?
Kal V'chomer is like Torah.
Right. So from a kal v'chaimer I can go till revi, but I can't do it without a kal v'chaimer. Shlishi I don't need a kal v'chaimer for. Parshas Tzav, yeah. You can look up the pasuk. Perik Zayin pasuk Yutes. Take a look at it. It'll be geschmack. Perik Zayin pasuk Yutes. It's page Yud Zayin Yutes. Page 302. Tzav Perik Zayin pasuk Yutes. 302. V'habasar asher yiga b'chol tamei lo ye'achel ba'eish yisarif. V'habasar kol tar yochel basar. Any basar of a carbon, we're talking a carbon shlama, that touches anything tamei could not be eaten. It has to be burnt in fire. And then he says every pure person has to eat. Only a pure person can eat basar. The expression here is a basar sheyiga b'chol tamei. What's b'chol tamei? Anything that's called tamei. Is a sheni called tamei? Yes. A clear pasuk that oichel in a keli that touched the sheretz is tamei. Yitma. Can't get more than that. Can't get clearer than that. That means this basar that touches that becomes itself disqualified to eat, and you have to burn it. Here we see a clear source that by karbonis there's something called shlishi. I don't need a kal v'chaimer. If I wouldn't have this pasuk, I would have to learn out even shlishi b'kodesh, which would bring me into the problem of dayai. Rashi says that's why the Gemarah adds this, that's why Rabbi Yossi adds this vignette, this addition. Because this fascinatingly eliminates a new problem. We learned that a kal v'chaimer is beautiful, but it has limits. I could say, if a 10-year-old kid can pick up this table, a 30-year-old wrestler can also pick up this table. That I know, right? But that can't prove to me that the 30-year-old can pick up 100 tables like that. Maybe yes, maybe not. A kal v'chaimer allows me to say, if it's in the kal, it's also in the chaimer. But I can't add to the chaimer more. We call this dayai lebam min hadin liyos kinidoin. I learned something out from a Kal V'Chomer. I say, you are like the original, but you can't be more than the original. I don't have the right for that. I don't have the support for that. So Rashi says, here, we should ask ourselves a question. Why aren't we using the dayai? In other words, how? What should we say dayai? We're saying that Truma could make a revi. Why? Why could Truma make a revi? Because Masada Kippurim. Who is mutter betruma is pasul b'kodesh. Certainly, a shlishi that's pasul betruma ein oidin sheyaser revi b'kodesh. You can take a look. Yeah. We'll go through the Rashis. Let's go through the Rashis here. Let's go through the Rashis. Va'amar Rava loy Rabbi Yossi. You see? Va'amar Rava loy Rabbi Yossi de lekamon the Darish Kal V'Chomer Mechusei Kippurim Sava Lak Rabbi Akiva Sheyesheni Yosef Shlishi B'Chol. Rabbi Yossi is going to make a Kal V'Chomer from Mechusei Kippurim. He doesn't agree with Rabbi Akiva that a sheni makes a shlishi in chulin. Granted. V'loy Rabbi Akiva Sava Lak Rabbi Yossi b'ma'isi l'kamon revi b'kodesh m'kal v'chomer m'chusei kippurim. And Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi, which is with his kal v'chomer from m'chusei kippurim for revi b'kodesh. Basically, Rabbi Yossi doesn't agree with Rabbi Akiva that sheni makes a shlishi in chulin. Rabbi Akiva doesn't agree with Rabbi Yossi that you learn a revi from a kal v'chomer. Right. This will be explained soon by Reb Ashi and Reb Kahana. But since Rabbi Yossi holds that mashkin could be metame others midayraisa, like mashkech raya, ela miyitma the darish yitame. The only raya that mashka could be metame is from yitma yitame. Al karchach isle sheni yosef shlishi b'chulin. He has to hold that sheni makes a shlishi b'chulin like Rabbi Akiva. The bein yitma the oichlin, bein yitma the mashkin. Asheni ksivi. Because the yitma by oichlin and the yitma by mashka is talking about a sheni. And if you're saying yitame, it means that a sheni could make a shlishi by chulin, so you can't have it both ways. You can't tell me that he disagrees with Rabbi Akiva when it comes to sheni and shlishi by chulin, and yet he holds that tumas mashkin l'tamei achedim is doirais. So the answer, the Bashi answered, b'shittus Rabbi Akiva Rabbi Amra. L'hada amar tumas mashkin l'tamei achedim doiraisa miboyele l'medrish yitma midrash yitma yitamei alibed Rabbi Akiva Amra. The darish leika b'yoichlin. When Rabbi Akiva said, when Rabbi Yossi says that tumas mashkin is metame others midoiraisa, he has to explain that yitma and yitame is going according to Rabbi Akiva. In other words, he's following. He has to say that this is following the shit of Rabbi Akiva, who says it by Eichlin. The Kamer Rabbi Yossi, Hoyel v'darish Rabbi Akiva yitma yitame islay the mashkin metame nachedim doiraisa. So Rabbi Yossi says, just like he says it by Eichel, obviously he holds that mashka could be metame others doiraisa. Avar Rabbi Yossi loy sviru loy tumas mashkin l'tamei achedim doiraisa. V'loy darish yitma yitame. He himself doesn't hold this. Okay. Asks Rashi, Bish Rabbi Yossi loy savalok Rabbi Akiva. The sheni oisa shlishi b'chulin. I understand Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva that sheni makes a shlishi b'chulin. The Tanya Amar Rabbi Yossi menayin l'revi b'kodesh apostle. V'dinu ma mechusei kippurim shemuter b'truma k'di alpinam b'yavam b'peir kadol mikroi toval v'ala oichel b'maisa. When you go to the mikveh, you can eat maisa sheni. Herev shimshei oichel b'truma. At night you can eat truma d'ksiva bo hashemesh v'tar v'acha yoichel min hakotshim. So mechusei kippurim can eat truma, nonetheless aser b'kodesh k'di yalef hasam v'chiper ala koyin v'teira miklan shit meya adachshav. We learn in Masechti Yavamas that till she brings a carbon, she's called Tommy Legabe Karbonis. So shlishi sheposel betruma. The Rabbanon, the Pligiyah, the Rabbi Akiva, v'nafkulon v'kal v'chaim mitvul yoim. The rabbis who argue with Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva holds that shlishi betruma you learn out from the pasuk yitma yitame. But the rabbis who argue with Rabbi Akiva and they say you learn it from the kal v'chaim mitvul yoim. Ma tvul yoim the muter b'chulin asa betruma. Ma the chatvul yoim uz mutter b'chulin is not allowed to eat truma. Sheni sheposel b'chulin and edin sheyasa shlishi b'truma b'mesechtes soite b'peirik kashem shamayim boitkin. So b'kodesh dinu sheyasa b'revim kal v'chemim mechusik kepurim. So by karbonis I have the kal v'chemim from mechusik kepurim to tell me that the shlishi could become a revi. Now Rashi adds, "V'lamadnu shlishi b'kodesh min ha'Torah." Why don't we say dayai matruma oisa shlishi v'suloi avzeh kodesh yasa shlishi v'suloi? Just like truma could make a shlishi, but not anymore. The truma cannot transfer anymore to other truma. Truma oisa shlishi. Truma can create a shlishi, meaning truma can become a shlishi, not more. Avzeh kodesh yasa shlishi. So this Kodesh should be able to become a shlishi, but not anymore. It should be just like Truma. That's the question that Rashi is posing now. Excellent question. This question is also on the first Kal V'Chaimer. What's the question on the first Kal V'Chaimer say? That what? So what's the question? Let's say then let's say like this. What happens by Truma? By Truma we see that a Sheni could make a Shlishi. Okay. But Shlishi can't make a Revi. So even a Kodesh, you're learning it out from Truma. So do the same thing. Let a Sheni make a Shlishi, but Shlishi can't make a Revi. Where do you have the right to go beyond Truma? That's what's bothering Rashi now. Where does Rabbi Yossi have this right? Rabbi Yossi is saying, that's mutter in Truma, is pasal b'kodesh. So a shlishi that's pasal b'truma could certainly make a revi b'kodesh. How could you go so far? Just say that whatever we know about Truma certainly applies to Kodesh also. If a Shlishi picks up Tumah, if it's Truma, for sure it picks up Tumah if it's Kodesh. That I got. But where do you have the Rishus to make a new Geder in Halacha and say, no, the Shlishi is going to make a Revi? Where did you get that from? How could you say that? So you'll say, well, your principle is that Kodesh is much more chamor than Truma. The dinim of Tumah by Karbonis are much more stringent than the dinim of Tumah by Truma. Haraya, Mechusah Kippurim is allowed to eat Truma. He's not allowed to eat Kodesh. So obviously, Kodesh is much more stringent, is much more sensitive. So if Truma can become Shlishi, so for sure Kodesh can become Revi. Well, maybe yeah, maybe not. Maybe. Yeah, you're making a whole new Hagdara in Halacha. You're saying, you're right, Kodesh is more stringent. I see from Mechusah Kippurim that it's a very serious thing. Mechusah Kippurim is allowed to eat Truma, and nonetheless, he's not allowed to eat Kodesh. Fine, I get it. It's a very serious thing. So therefore, I'm now going to make a new Halacha. What's going to be the new Halacha? That when Truma touches Karbonis, there's a new Tumah called Revi. You went... Let it be as much as Truma, not more than Truma. Maybe it's more, but maybe not. You can't be mechadish a Tumah from nowhere, and you're going to burn Karbonis based on this. You're going to burn Karbonis? If a Shlishi touches a Revi, you're going to burn the carpet? Kavachaimas have limits. Very big question. You get it? A Mechusah Kippurim has a Geder that is Asur b'Kodesh. Fine. So I see that Kodesh is very serious. I got it. So it's not going to be less than Truma. But I can't make it more than Truma unless the Torah tells me. Mechusah Kippurim, the Torah says it's more than Truma. I can eat Truma if I'm Mechusah Kippurim. I can't eat Karbonis. The Torah says fine. But now to go based on that and say, okay, so in another halacha, if the Shlishi is puzzled by Truma, for sure the Shlishi can make a Revi b'Kodesh. How do you know? Because you're learning from Mechusah Kippurim. You're learning from Mechusah Kippurim that Karbonis are more stringent. But to make a whole new Agdara of Tumah based on that, and say that if the shlishi is pasul betruma, for sure the shlishi could make a revi. Maybe not. Maybe say truma becomes shlishi if it touches sheni, and for sure karbanas become shlishi. For sure karbanas become shlishi. For sure, 1,000% sure. But now you want to say no, karbanas become a revi. You went a little too far. So Rashi says that's the brilliance of what Rabbi Yossi is saying. That what? See weiter. The mishum shlishi loy istrich lon kal v'chomer. The minatoyra lamadnu shlishi. V'chi asa kal v'chomer l'revi hu da asa. Because for shlishi you don't need a kal v'chomer. You have a pasuk. So if there's a kal v'chomer, it's for revi. The kaima lon b'babakama perik sheni. The heiche the mifrich kal v'chomer lo yamrin and dayai. If dayai will refute the entire kal v'chomer, we cancel out the dayai. Meaning, we say dayai only if it doesn't obliterate the kal v'chomer. Here, the dayai will obliterate the kal v'chomer. Why? Because if we say dayai, there won't be by kodesh more than shlishi. Kodesh will only go till shlishi. But for kodesh shlishi, you don't need a kal v'chomer. We have it from a pasuk. So therefore, here you don't say dayai, and you learn from the kal v'chomer that by kodesh shlishi could make a revi. Let me explain to you what this means, based on the Marsha. If I could learn something from a kal v'chomer and from a pasuk, that pasuk becomes superfluous, because I can learn it from a kal v'chomer. So why would the Torah write it in a pasuk if I could learn it from a kal v'chomer? Why? So if I have no choice, I'm going to say that the Torah writes something even if there's a kal v'chomer. But that's my last resort. My first option is to say that the Torah wants me to learn something in the kal v'chomer that goes the extra mile. In other words, the kal v'chomer is not to teach me the halach. I already know it from a pasuk. The kal v'chomer is to teach me in the chomer something extra that I would not be able to say from the kal v'chomer itself. Because if not, the kal v'chomer is superfluous, or the pasuk is superfluous. Let me explain. We want to say here dayai. What's dayai? Dayai is that kachim could be shlishis, like truma. Truma is a shlishi, kachim is a shlishi. I made a kal v'chomer. Yeah, dayai l'bamin adin liyas kenidin. If truma can be shlishi, for sure karbanis can be shlishi. I'm good. But don't make karbanis into a revi. Don't be mechadish that. Fine. But then I say 1 second. That I don't need a kal v'chomer for. I have a pasuk. Ha-basar asher yiga b'chol tamer lo ye'achal. Basar that touches a sheni is a shlishi. So I don't need a kal v'chomer. I have a pasuk. This pasuk is extra. Why? Because I have a kal v'chomer that kachim could be shlishi. So why is there a pasuk? So that's what I'm saying. The svara of milsa da'asir b'kal v'chomer, the Torah says, you only do when there's no other way to explain why there's a pasuk. But if there's another way to explain why there's a pasuk, we prefer to say that the pasuk is teaching me that you could use the kal v'chomer to stretch it a little more. In other words, I don't need a kal v'chomer that shlishi b'kodesh is possible. I don't need a kal v'chomer. So what do I need a kal v'chomer for? That revi b'kodesh is possible. The pasuk frees me up from remaining confined by the regular limits of a kal v'chomer. The pasuk says, I don't want you using the kal v'chomer for dayai, for the basic kal v'chomer. I'm already telling this to you. So why am I giving you a kal v'chomer? What's the kal v'chomer? I want you to expand the chamor. That's why Rabbi Yossi adds these words. In other words, I want you to learn from Truma and say, Ma'adach mechusa kippurim is allowed to eat Truma, is not allowed to eat kachim. In other words, kachim is more chamor. So for sure, if a shlishi, which is pasul b'truma, it's mamash pasul b'truma, so you'll say, okay, so for sure, carbon can also become a shlishi. I say, no, goes much more than that. So for sure, a shlishi shepasul b'truma, we can expand the tumah even to revi. the revi also becomes pasul. We don't say daya l'bam and adin liyas kenidin.
So just because it says Shlishi, you able to mechadish a new Tumah?
Just because it says by shlishi, clearly,
it frees you up to create a new Tumah?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because if I say dayai, I obliterate the kal v'chaimer. The kal v'chaimer becomes useless. That's why. You get it? If I say dayai, the kal v'chaimer has just been obliterated. Remember, if I say dayai, so what does the kal v'chaimer teach me? That shlishi bekotchim is pasul. I have a pasuk for that. So you took my kal v'chaimer and you made it futile, useless, irrelevant, and inconsequential. Completely refuted, completely obliterated. Yes, we don't say daya. We say daya if the kal v'chaimer is still teaching me a chiddush. You understand? Before we made a kal v'chaimer, for example, that if mashke touches a keli, it becomes tameh. For sure, if mashke touches a sheretz, it becomes tameh. That's a very nice kal v'chaimer. I wouldn't know it otherwise. And over there, I could say daya. It's limited by the halachas of mashkin that touch a keli. But if I say daya here, what am I left with? A useless kal v'chaimer. A useless kal v'chaimer. What's your kal v'chaimer? That kachim could become a shlishi? Thank you, I have a pasuk in Parshas Saf. A useless kal v'chaimer. And the question is, there's a kal v'chaimer. Why are you giving me a pasuk? Oh, if the pasuk wouldn't be there, it would be great. I would say a kal v'chaimer, say dayoi, my kal v'chaimer would be valuable, that kachim becomes a shlishi, and I say dayoi, it doesn't become a revi. But now, when I have a pasuk that it becomes a shlishi, I took the kal v'chaimer, and I turned it into something futile. Completely futile. That's pshat. Heiche de mifrich kal v'chaimer, lo yamrin and dayoi. Dayoi will not work in halacha if what the dayoi is doing is turning the entire kal v'chaimer into something that's useless.
So you don't use dayoi on that case. You say when there's a pasuk, there's a kal v'chaimer,
Right.
So in other words, it gives you permission not to be bound by.
Tazai. The pasuk gives me permission to flex the muscles of the kal v'chaimer. Yeah, in other words, you're making your kal v'chaimer of value. You're expanding it. Why? Who gave you permission? Pashat. Because if I'm not expanding it, it's useless. I have a pasuk. To teach me that shlishi by kachim is pasul, I have a pasuk. I don't know kal v'chaimer.
The kal v'chaimer is always there.
The kal v'chaimer is there, but I'm not deriving anything, but it's worthless.
Go further then.
Really, it's not even like kal v'chaimer.
It is a kal v'chaimer. Right, without the pasuk, I would say dayoi. I would say kachim are much more serious than truma. I got it. Is it possible that a shlishi could make a revi by kachim? I have no source for it. I can't go so far. I could say that kachim should be like truma, not less. I told you, the powerful person can lift up the weights that the child can lift up. You want to add 200 weights? Maybe he could, but I don't know. Right? I can't prove it. I can't say this is absolutely right. B'meila, I wouldn't say that shlishi becomes revi by kodesh. If shlishi touches revi, nothing happens. But now that I have a clear pasuk for shlishi, so b'meila, what's the kal v'chaimer from truma? That shlishi could be by kachim also. Thank you, I have a pasuk. So you want to tell me dayoi and take my kal v'chaimer and say it's worthless, right? We say not that way. Heiche de mifrich kal v'chaimer lo yamrin and dayoi. If the dayoi is going to uproot the value of my kal v'chaimer because I have a pasuk, I don't say dayoi. So what do? I don't say dayoi. So therefore I say, you know what? I could go further and I could say, if truma can become a shlishi, kachim can become a revi through the truma. Madacha mechusa kippurim is Asr b'Kodesh. So we see the seriousness of Kodesh. It's much more serious than Truma. So yes, I'm going to flex the muscles of the Kal V'Chaimer and say, really? So if Truma, which is possible meat, and it's much worse than a Mechusah Kippurim, right? Much worse than a Mechusah Kippurim. You can't tell me a Mechusah Kippurim is some freaky Tumah. He's mutter b'Truma. So the meat, the Truma, which is more serious than Mechusah Kippurim, for sure couldn't expand it. Well, maybe not. Mechusah Kippurim is Asa b'Kodesh. So you see that Kodesh is much more serious. Okay, so it's much more serious. Yeah. Habasar ashayiga b'chol tom. Take a look in Rashi, next Rashi. Daf Yutestamen ala b'chol tom milay mashma nami di naga b'sheni. The hasheni nikra tomei. Koil asher b'soicha yitma. Back to our pasuk in Shmini. Perek Yud Aleph pasuk Lamed Daled. That's it. It's tomei yitma, and therefore basar ashayiga b'chol tomei includes even a sheni. Well, we in our language we call it, but in Torah it's called Yitma. The Hasheni Nikra Tameh. Sheni is called Tameh. Koil Asher B'Soicha Yitma. All the food that's in the Keli shall become Tameh, and that food is a Sheni. So we see clearly that the Torah applies the word Tumah to Sheni. So when it says Habasar Ashayiga B'Chol Tameh, Rashi says it's talking about Basar that touches a Sheni, which proves to me that there's a clear source in Torah that Kachim can become a Shlishi. I don't need a Kal V'Chaimer for this. So in summation, we made a Kal V'Chaimer. We saw that Kachim are much more serious than Truma. How did we see it? We saw it from Mechusah Kippurim. We saw it from Mechusah Kippurim. And therefore, we wanted to make a Kal V'Chaimer. If a Mechusah Kippurim, who's allowed to eat Truma, is not allowed to eat Kachim, in other words, Kachim are more serious, right? So Kachim is much more serious. So now let's go further and say that a Shlishi that's possible b'Truma, for sure can make a Revi b'Kodesh. Because Kodesh is much more sensitive. So Shlishi will make a Revi b'Kodesh. That's what I want to say. So the Gemara, wait, Dayai. Just say that Kachim could become a Shlishi. I say, no. Kachim or Shlishi have a clear pasuk. Labmadnu Shlishi b'Kodesh min ha-Torah. And therefore, Revi b'Kal V'Chaimer. So what's my Kal V'Chaimer left for? The Kal V'Chaimer is left for to take it a step further and say Kachim is more serious than Truma, and therefore the Tumah of Kachim travels much more than the Tumah of Truma. So if the Truma will touch other Truma, the new Truma will not become a Revi. It's not sensitive enough. But if the Truma will bring its Tumah to a Kachim, that can become a Revi because it's more sensitive. How do I see it's more sensitive from a Mechusah Kippurim? That's going to be the Daya. You're saying, how could you come up with a whole new invention of Tumah? A Revi with a Kal V'Chaimer, yeah. 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 Well, I guess you can add a Mechusah Kippurim, right? If you learn that a Mechusah Kippurim makes the Basar Tameh, so that's like and he doesn't make Truma Tameh.
Right, but it makes it on the level that this is a whole new level.
So if a Mechusah Kippurim, which is completely Tahir, makes the Kachim Pasul, so the Shlishi of Truma, which is Tameh de Kafud, it's Pasul de Kafud, could make it. Could make a Revi. So you're right, we're expanding a Kal V'Chaimer, we're making a new category of Tumah called Revi, but the Mechusah Kippurim does give us more substance than just the idea that Kachim is more Chamar. Now you see here what we're getting at. This is all an introduction. Let's get to the punchline. What's the punchline? Few more words. Ve'isal kedaitach savar kerebbe akiva nisne nami revi betruma v'chamishi b'kodesh. If you hold that Rabbi Yossi agrees with Rabbi Akiva, that even by Chulin there's a Shlishi, Rabbi Yossi should have said that Truma can become a Revi and Kodesh can become a Chamishi. Obviously, he disagrees with Rabbi Akiva. If Rabbi Yossi holds that a sheni could make a shlishi by chulin, the generations of Tumah should have continued further. Because if shlishi can be tamei in chulin, if a sheni of chulin can affect a shlishi of chulin like Rabbi Akiva, then Rabbi Yossi should have learned out that Truma can be a revi and Kodesh can be a chamishi, using the same principles of before. Let's go through the principles. Mada chatvul yoim, who's allowed to eat chulin, is not allowed to eat Truma. A tvul yoim is allowed to eat chulin, and he doesn't do anything to the chulin. The chulin remains completely pure. Still, he's not allowed to eat Truma. And he's matame, he's paisel Truma. 1 second, what you did before. So, for sure, chulin shlishi that is paisel, that has a din of psul, right? We'll make a revi of Truma.
You could say, you take from chul to trimmer or from trimmer to...
Chulin shlishi will make Truma revi. Chulin shlishi will make Truma revi. Mada chatful yoim was mutter. What's that? Mada chatful yoim was mutter b'chulin is asa b'truma. So I want to say for sure a shlishi that's pasul b'chulin like Rabbi Akiva for sure will make a revi in truma. Oh, you're asking a good question. Say dayoy. Say dayoy. Say chulin could make a sheni and chulin could become a shlishi. Shlishi doesn't become a revi, so Truma should be as serious as Chulin. So Truma should become a Shlishi, but not a revi. That's what you want to say, right? Yeah. Wait. But now you're going to use the same svara. This is Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva holds you don't need a pasuk that Shlishi could be a Truma. Because it says Yitma. And Yitma is Yitame, and that's even Chulin for sure Truma. So according to Rabbi Akiva, you don't need a pasuk that Truma can be a shlishi. So if you use your daya, what happens? Your kal v'chayma became useless. So Mela we use the kal v'chayma for revi. Once you say Truma is a revi, now go to the next step. A mechusa kippurim, who's mutter b'truma, is asa b'kodesh. So for sure, revi of Truma should make a chamishi b'kodesh. Are you going to say dayoi? No. Because Revi b'kodesh you have a pasuk. How do you have a pasuk? Habas hashiga b'chol tamei. If we say that shlishi is called tamei, anything that's tamei makes the basa. So we have a pasuk for Revi. So we have a pasuk for Revi. So you can do the kal v'chayma for chamishi. Why did Rabbi Yossi stop by Revi? Is the charaya that he doesn't hold a Rabbi Akiva. Sheni can become a shlishi in chulin. Sheni can become a shlishi in chulin, so he has to stop by sheni, and therefore he doesn't go further. Huh? No. Good question. Take a look in Rashi. I didn't finish the Rashi. Let's finish the Rashi. The top Rashi. B'chol tamei milai mashma nami dinaga b'sheni da sheni nikra tamei kol shebesoiche yitma. Okay. So Rashi is now concluding the whole sugya, the whole shtickle. V'hashta de shaminin leile Rabbi Yossi b'shlishi l'truma v'loi revi u'revi l'kodesh v'loi chamishi. Now that we established, Rabbi Yossi holds that truma goes till shlishi, kodesh goes till revi, but not further. Truma can't be a revi, kodesh can't be a chamishi. Al karchach lesle sheni oiser shlishi b'chulin. He obviously does not believe that a sheni could make a shlishi in chulin. V'loi doresh yitma yitamei. He does not embrace the opinion of Rabbi Akiva yitma yitamei. Why? The islay, because if he does hold so, laisei l'revi betruma bekal v'chayma mitvul yoim. Then he should have taught that a revi can apply even to Truma. Truma can become a revi with a kal v'chaymer from Tvul Yom. Uma Tvul Yom shemuter b'chulin pasel b'Truma. Ma the Tvul Yom who's allowed to eat chulin and does not make it tamei is pasel b'Truma. Shlishi she pasel b'chulin einoy din she'aser revi b'Truma. A shlishi that's pasel b'chulin should not make a revi in truma. V'dayoy lekala meimar. I say dayoy. No, the imkein mafrech kal v'chomer. You're making the kal v'chomer useless. The hashlishi the truma nafkala mikra. Because that truma could become a shlishi according to Rabbi Akiva. I know from a pasuk. Ki heiche the nafkala on shlishi b'chulin. Just like I learn out shlishi by chulin, I learn out shlishi by truma. That what? That kol asher b'soicha yitma yitame, could be metame. Even a sheni could make a shlishi by chulin, and certainly by truma. So I have a pasuk for that. So Mela, I don't need a pasuk that shlishi could become a truma. So therefore, if I use the kal v'chomer only, that truma can become a shlishi, it's useless because that I know even by chulin and by truma. It's a clear pasuk. So the daya destroys my kal v'chomer, makes it useless. So what do I use the kal v'chomer from Tvul Yom? Then it goes one step further. That a shlishi b'chulin could make a revi b'truma, and not just that truma could be a shlishi like chulin, or revi b'kal v'chomer, and then revi I use for the kal v'chomer. V'chamishi b'kodesh b'kal v'chomer m'mechusa kippurim, and then I do chamishi b'kodesh with the kal v'chomer from mechusa kippurim. And again, I do, because according to Rabbi Akiva, revi b'kodesh I learn out from the pasuk. Because if shlishi could become tameh, habasa sheyiga b'chol tameh includes shlishi. So if kachim touch a shlishi, it's tameh. It's ba'esh yisarif, you understand? So I don't need revi b'kodesh for the kal v'chomer. So what do I use the kal v'chomer for? Chamishi. Elavadai lesle l'Rabbi Yossi sheni yosef shlishi b'chulin. This demonstrates and explains Rava's proof why he said that Rabbi Yossi disagrees with Rabbi Akiva's premise that a sheni could make a shlishi by chulin, because he doesn't believe yitma yitame, which is what made us say that Rabbi Yossi, who said that mashka could be metame others minatayra, does not agree with that by himself. He's just following Rabbi Akiva's view and repeating what Rabbi Akiva would have said, but he himself doesn't agree with it. Oh, good question. Good question. Good question. So according to Rabbi Akiva, there should be a chamishi. Because he should do this. Oh, well, remember we said earlier, Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva, and we added, Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi. We'll get to that the next year. Very good. Good question. That's why we said both. Rabbi Yossi doesn't agree with Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva doesn't accept the kal v'chomer from Rabbi Yossi. You're right. If he would accept the kal v'chomer, he should go till chamishi. Yeah, he should go till chamish. You should go to Chamish. You can take a look. Take a look. We'll just do this. You prove to me that Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like Rabbi Akiva. Why? Because he says Kodesh goes till Revi. Got it. But how do you know Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi? Maybe Rabbi Akiva does hold like Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Akiva agrees with Rabbi Yossi. Beautiful kal v'chomers. Later, Bashi said, come on. The lo l'shtameh tana. In the whole Shas, I never found a Tana who ever said that there's a Revi by Truma and Chamishi b'Kodesh. The name of Rabbi Akiva. Why was there no Tana who said there's a Revi by Truma, Chamishi b'Kodesh? And when you would ask, where, who? You'd answer, it's Rabbi Akiva. Why is there no Mishnah and Braisa that records of you that there's a Revi by Truma and Chamishi b'Kodesh? Why not? I have to say, Rabbi Akiva somehow found a problem with Rabbi Yossi's kal v'chomers, and therefore he does not believe in Revi by Truma and Chamishi b'Kodesh. Otherwise, he would be forced to go till Chamishi.
That's why he can't do the whole.
And that's why we have to say Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi. Because if he would hold like Rabbi Yossi, he would have been forced to say Chamish. Why doesn't he hold like Rabbi Yossi? Why doesn't he hold like Rabbi Yossi? Because he holds that there's a big problem with Rabbi Yossi's kal v'chomer. We'll learn that in the next year. But that's the bottom line, and that's why he doesn't go till Chamishi. So Rabbi Yossi doesn't hold like him, Rabbi Akiva doesn't hold like Rabbi Yossi. This is explaining the idea that Rava said that the two don't hold like each other, which is how this sugya began. Okay. V'abasa sheyiga b'chol tamei. No, shlishi is a tamei. According to Rabbi Akiva, shlishi is a tamei. It says Yitma Yitame. So Sheni could bring Tumah to Shlishi. So the Shlishi is called Tameh. So the Basar Sheyiga B'chol Tameh is Revi touching Shlishi. So you have a pasuk that Kodesh can become Revi. Yeah? No. You have a pasuk later about Kiva that Tumah can become Shlishi. You have a pasuk that Kodesh could become Revi, and therefore the Kal V'chaimer could go and extend to Chamishi. Ha-basar asher yiga b'chol tamei lo ye'achel. Remember, according to Rabbi Akiva, Shlishi is called Tamei. You got to remember that. Exactly. The basar that touches the Tamei can't be eaten. What's the Tamei? According to Rabbi Akiva, it goes till Shlishi. So if this basar touches Shlishi, it becomes puzzle. So that's called Revi. The Tumah traveled. We call it puzzle, but that's called Revi. If it could be Revi, then Rabbi Akiva should say it's the Chamishi. Very, very, very. Whatever is defined as Tameh somehow affects the meat of a carbon. So if you go till Sheni, we know that Kacha becomes a Shlishi. If you go till Shlishi, we know that Kacha becomes a Revi. Yeah. And that's what bumps off the daya. That's what cancels the daya. That's what causes me and allows me to expand my Kal V'chaimer. Because without that, my Kal V'chaimer becomes a useless and superfluous insight. Rabbi Akiva disagrees with the premise that you could make a Kal V'chaimer. Yeah. We're going to see the premise. Yeah. The premise is actually the problem that Rabbi Yossi has with Rabbi Akiva. No. He has a major problem. You know what his problem is? His problem is Tvul Yoim and Mechusa Kippurim have a stringency that is unique. You know why? They were all avatumas. Food was never an avatuma. Fascinating.
Also that they weren't...
He doesn't. He should have gotten to Chamishi if he agrees with Rabbi Yossi, but he doesn't. From here we see that he doesn't agree with Rabbi Yossi. That's why we said Rabbi Yossi rejects Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Akiva rejects Rabbi Yossi. Verstehst?
Yeah. Because you didn't touch anything, it's from yourself.
Mechusik Geburim is from yourself.
Oh, that's what you said.
We'll see why Rabbi Akiva refutes Rabbi Yossi Be'ezer Hashem tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.